Hi there, my name is Gudrun from Gudrun Crochet and I am back here today with another knitting podcast. So hi, welcome or welcome back. My name is Gudrun, I'm a knitter from Belgium. I'm 22 years old and I have some updates on everything that I've been working on. I think it's been a month and a half since my last knitting podcast and I have a lot to talk about since then. So I will first start off with what I'm wearing. This is the storm sweater by petiteknit. I made this quite a while ago, a few years ago, but I still really love this sweater and I wear it all of the time. So yeah, let's start off with my finished objects because we're gonna do traditional knitting podcast. I'll start off with what was a whip in the last podcast, which is my Dagmar zipper sweater. Look at how gorgeous she is. This took me exactly 2 months to make. I made an entire knitting vlog about this if you want to see. It was my first time ever sewing in a zipper, which I think I did a pretty good job at. And it was my first time doing honeycomb cables. It was my first time doing these diamond cables. Also my first time doing a 1x1 cable. So lots of firsts with this one and I really love the end result. I have already worn it while I was on holiday in Morocco and it was like the perfect warm layer to have with me and it was very comfy and I love it very much. And so far I think there are no signs of wear on this. I'll show like the underarm because it's typically like the place where I get a lot of pilling and it's looking fine. Also nothing around the shoulders because I was wearing like a tote bag and stuff and I don't see any pilling. So far this is holding up really well. Then my next finished object was an acquisition in the previous episode. So I've completely finished that in the meantime. It is not blocked yet though, so it's not looking the cleanest yet, but just imagine that it's blocked, okay? This is the baby blanket. I think it's the reversible blanket Soft Clouds, could be wrong. And I forgot the designer's name, but I will put it on the screen somewhere. This is for a family member of mine that is expecting a baby in the summer. And I wanted to make her something because as a knitter, once there's a baby in the family, you need to knit for them. So it's like this blanket with clouds all over them, with just like knits and pearls, and then on the other side it's reversible and then the clouds are the knits. It was a relatively fast knit, didn't take me that long, but I did get bored. In the beginning it was fun, but then after you've done the repeat a couple of times, you just want to get it over with. So yeah, but I'm very happy to have this done. I made this with Drops Safran, which is a 100% cotton yarn, which I know might seem weird for a blanket because it's not going to be that warm, but the baby's going to be born in summer, so if I would give them a wool blanket, that wouldn't really be useful the first few months. And this is also easy to machine wash because it can't shrink. So that's why I went with cotton, and I guess they could like kind of use it even as like a cover up for the sun or something. We will see. I just hope I secured the ends well enough that a baby's hands won't ruin this after a few times. If it gets ruined eventually, it's okay, it's for a baby, but I do hope it gets some time with them. And then my next finished object, which is my last one, is something that was not a whip or an acquisition in the previous episodes. And these are the Boyland socks by Caitlin Hunter. Now, as you can see, I have not sewn in the ends yet. She's also not blocked yet, but I am still counting her as a finished object. I literally finished it today, like I still had to do the Kitchener stitching. This is a pattern from the 52 Weeks of Socks book. I've had this book for a while and this is the first pair of socks that I've made out of it. And I'm really pleased with the experience, so I'm gonna have to make some of the other patterns as well. And this is my first time actually successfully knitting a colorwork pair of socks. I have tried it before with like knitting a sock with like a tiny section of colorwork and then just knit until like here, try it on the sock and notice I couldn't get it over my heel. So then I had to undo that colorwork and stuff, and I was too scared to try again. But now I've done a few colorwork projects and I've gotten some more confident with my colorwork skills, and she's stretchy enough. I can easily get her over my heel. She's not, the colorwork is not the cleanest, I think you can kind of see. This one is a bit cleaner, still not perfect at all, but a bit cleaner than the top part, and I think that is because of the little bubbles on there. I'm also not sure if I'm a fan of bubbles. I didn't like doing them. I will see if I like wearing it or not. Otherwise, I think I might omit bubbles in the future if they're in a pattern. But anyways, I do think it's very pretty. I made them in kind of like a spring color. My mom says they look like Easter socks. So I will probably wearing them during our Easter party with the family, because indeed they do fit for that. The yarn. So these are all different sock yarns, of which I do not remember the name, so I will put them in the description. But the white and the pink yarns were yarns that I already have. I had used them for previous projects and had them left over, and I don't have the tags anymore even. But then the green yarn I did buy because I just thought it was such a pretty color, and it has like 5% cashmere, so it was called like cashmere sock yarn or something. I wanted to try it to see if it was significantly softer than regular sock yarn and also how it wears, because the price difference wasn't that big. And if it's really softer and it still wears okay, then I think I might use that yarn a lot. For now, love the knitting experience with it. It is on the soft side, but I don't think it's like a significant difference of softness. But I hope it wears well, because this pink yarn has alpaca in it, so it's incredibly soft, but it doesn't wear as well, which is why I just used it for the color work and not for the heel and stuff. So if it wears better than that, then I might use that quite a lot, because I think it was like €6.50 for one ball, which is okay, I think, in terms of pricing for sock yarn. So yeah, and I only got one skein, because this pattern calls for one skein of each color, and I do have a bit left over of the green one and also of the other ones, even though I had already used them. So you don't need full skeins to knit this. So yeah, I think they look absolutely gorgeous. Can't wait to sew in the ends and wear them. I do have to figure out, because this is my first time doing a contrast color heel with short rows, and I do have like a hole here on both sides. So I have to figure out how I can close that hole, because I don't want holes in my socks. Anyways, that's my last finished object for this episode. Let's get into whips. I have 2 whips for today, one of which is a whip from the previous podcast. So I finished 2 projects that weren't whips yet in the meantime, but this one is starting to become a lingering whip. And that is my Clematis Sweater Chunky by Emma Maier, or Emma's Knits. I'm making this with yarn that I frogged from a very old project, and I'm also holding which was a cotton yarn, and then I'm also holding lace weight merino to hit gauge. And so I finished the body, finished the button band as well. And then I finished the first sleeve a few days ago, and now I just have to start on the second sleeve. This sweater, I think this has made me realize I'm not a big fan of chunky needles, because this is knit on 5.5mm needles, which isn't even that chunky. But my favorite needle sizes are 4mm and 4.5mm, and this just feels pretty chunky. Even though it goes fast, I just don't enjoy it. I think it might be a combination of the thick needles and the fact that this is mostly cotton, relatively thick cotton, so it's quite heavy on the hands. So if I'm knitting, I'm constantly like taking breaks, because it's just not going as smooth, it's not as comfortable. But yeah, I do really want to get this finished, so I should really start on that second sleeve. Since this, I finished this morning, so this is now going to become my main whip. It has to become my main whip now, because I want to get this off the needles and be able to wear it. So yes, this is my clematis sweater chunky. I cannot wait to get this off the needles. My next project is a bit more exciting. So this is also with yarn from a frogged old project. I made a video about that, by the way, about frogging those old projects. But this is also with yarn from an old project, and I am making the peacock tee. Oh my god, by LEKNIT. Look how beautiful this is. So I am knitting this with Drops Belle, which is a cotton linen viscose blend, so perfect for the summer. And I finished the entire yoke. I finished the sleeves as well. I wanted to do those first because I am planning yarn chicken on this. I think the recommended amount of meters for my size is like 600 meters, and I think I have 450. So I slightly cropped the sleeves. I think they're meant to be like 3 or 4 centimeters longer than this, but I cropped them to save some meterage. And the only other modification I did so far is I did 1 extra set of short rows underneath the lace chart, because she has you do some short rows on the top here, but I felt like it was only like a centimeter difference, and I was afraid that wasn't going to be enough. So I just added in 1 extra set of short rows. I don't think it's gonna do that much, but if it slightly pushes up the lace chart, I'm happy. I didn't want to do any more than that because I still wanted to have enough coverage around here and not pull the lace chart downwards too much, because then I would be exposed. So yeah, that's why I only did 1 set, but I am loving how this looks. This is about a week's progress. We are now Monday and I started this last Tuesday, so this is flying off the needles, but that's because I really liked the lace chart. It felt almost addictive in some way, and then I did the sleeves this weekend just to get that over with. So now I am on the body, and this is now going to become my class project. So in one of my classes we have to do some presentations. I already did 1 presentation and I have to do 1 more towards the end of the semester. And so in between I have to be present, I have to listen, and if I have questions I can ask questions. But for the rest I just have to sit there. Most people are just busy on their computers working on their thesis or something. I think that's a bit disrespectful, because then you're really not listening to what the person is saying. But just sitting there for 2.5 hours doing nothing and only listening is way too difficult for me. So I'm gonna be bringing this with me, just working on the body. It's just plain stockinette in the round. I'm not even counting rows. So it's a good brainless thing to do while I'm listening. And then I feel like I'm actually listening better compared to when I'm not doing anything. But I'm doing this like under the table so no one sees, because otherwise I think it would be a bit distracting for the people that are presenting, and I don't want to be disrespectful. But yes, that's going to be my class project, and we will see when this gets finished, but I cannot wait to wear this. Oh, and I did not gauge swatch, so I'm just hoping that it turns out okay. I did not have yarn left to spare to make a gauge swatch, so she will just have to fit. We will see. Okay, so that's it for my whips. I now also have quite a few acquisitions. Okay, so acquisitions. I have this big box with me. Now the first thing that I'm gonna show is not from this order, but I got this little book from Sister Anne, and I decided to keep a knitting journal. So just like logging everything that I'm doing. I'm planning on pasting in some pictures here, so that's why there's some empty space. You know, information about the yarn that I'm using, when I started it, when I finished it, modifications that I did, as you can see. And the other ones I still have to paste in the label. So this is the label of the cashmere sock yarn. I still have to paste that in there and write some other information about the yarns. I just thought that this would be a cute idea to kind of be able to flip through my projects, to like think about everything that I made and stuff, and also to go back to if I want to know some details or like lot numbers of yarn or something. So yeah, I saw this on Pinterest, someone doing this, and I thought it was really cute, and I wanted to participate in the whole knitting journal trend. I am a perfectionist though, so I got the book. I got some washi tapes to paste in my yarns. I'm using like a stick to paste in the labels, but I went and bought some erasable pens that you can easily erase if I make mistakes, because I make a lot of mistakes when I'm writing, and I did not want to use like Tipex or something ugly or like stripe through words. So yeah, I did have to buy quite a few things for this to work for me, but I'm really loving it so far, and I have to update this in a bit because I finished these and I need to write in the dates that I finished them. Exciting! Anyways, now on to actual knitting acquisitions. So I've got this big box with me with lots of yarns. I'll start off with the balls that almost fell out. So I got 2 balls of drops saffron in this, I think it's the color natural or something. I'll put all the colors in the description. So I got 2 balls of these, and then I got 5 balls of this beautiful, beautiful brown. I'm in my brown phase right now. I think it's really trendy color, and I think it looks amazing on me. So I got this, and then 1 minute, I'm gonna go grab it. Okay, so this is the yarn that I have left over from my baby blanket. I have 2 skeins, and it's also the drops saffron, and it's in this beautiful baby blue. And I think, gorgeous! Look at this. I'm gonna be knitting a stripy tee with this. I'm thinking the Lake's Stripe Tee, I think it's called. And I'm gonna do it in the exact same colors as the designer did. So it's mostly brown with then some small blue and white stripes in between. I think it looks so pretty. And this is 100% cotton, so I think it will be good for spring and summer. Even though it's like a sweater with a little bit longer sleeves and it's quite oversized. It's gonna be mostly brown, so I'm not gonna be wearing it when it's like 30 degrees, but for your regular spring day, I think this is gonna be amazing. And I just really love this color combo. Look at that. Gorgeous. It's gonna be knit on 3.5mm needles though, so it's gonna take a while, but I really do think it's gonna be worth it, and I'm gonna love this. On to my next acquisition. More yarn! I'm not gonna grab all of these, but I got 11 skeins, I think, of this drops Belle in this beautiful green color. Look at that. And with this, I am actually planning to knit something without a pattern. I want to knit a blouse, like a summer blouse to wear during the spring and stuff, and on colder summer evenings. And I have like a certain idea in my head, and I just want to try and knit that up. We will see. If that fails, I will just look for a pattern that also uses a yarn that has a similar gauge. But I really want to try and make something without a pattern, because I used to do that quite a lot when I started knitting, and now I'm just mostly following patterns. But I really want to get back into trying out things without a pattern, so that's what I'm gonna use this one for. And I just really think this color is gonna look amazing on me. I was deciding between the green and brown, but since I already have like brown in this project, I thought that was gonna be too much. So we got some green, and I think I look pretty good in green, so love that. And then my next project is actually the priciest one, even though it has the least amount of skeins. Anyways, I got some Lang Yarns Venus, which is a cotton merino yarn, and it's like a, I don't know if you can see that, it's a chainette structure, so it's not regularly plied. It is really soft yarn. It is really lightweight. So I've got 4 skeins, and each skein is 170 meters, and I am planning to use this for the heartless top. Now, I think the gauge, it's relatively similar to what you're supposed to use, but this is 50% cotton, which is gonna lose some of its stretch. And I'm just hoping that the fact that it's chain knit yarn will help with the stretch, although I'm not sure, but we will see. I'm definitely gonna have to gauge swatch for this. But I got this in this beautiful pink color, which I think fits because it's like the heartless top. But yeah, it is really, really soft next to skin. So, you know, being a top, it's gonna be great. I'm not gonna feel it. It also feels relatively cool to the touch. But I don't know how this is gonna wear because I feel like it's a yarn that's gonna be pretty prone to pilling. Just hope it's not too bad, and I hope it has enough stretch because I'm really, really worried about that. But yeah, this yarn was a bit on the pricier side. I think it was like €9 per skein, or 9.5 even. So I think this one got in total was €39, whereas like the yarn for this, like this is dirt cheap. So I'm really hoping that this yarn works well for the projects, but we will have to see. Now for that project, I also got another set of knitting needles because the pattern calls for 3.5 and 3.75 millimeter needles, and I do not have 3.75 millimeter needles. So I got some. These are the only woolen needles that I have on the website where I buy yarn. They're Knit Pro, so it's great. These are the, I think it's a symphony. Yeah, it's a symphony. So they've got like different colors. But yeah, it's not the first pattern that I've seen calling for 3.75 millimeter needles. So I feel like I can get some more use out of these in other projects. Otherwise it would have been a bit of a waste. And then one small thing I got is some needlepoint protectors because I have lost one of my sets. And I think it's because of one of my cats. Because if he sees those needlepoint protectors, he will go feral. He will run after them, take them in his mouth and hide them somewhere, and I don't know where he hides them. So I got some extra ones, and I'm gonna be really careful with hiding these from him so I don't lose these as well. And I really like them when I'm taking my knits out of the house. I'm just really pissed that he's stealing them from me. But yeah, this is not an exciting buy, it's just, it was necessary. So yeah, that's it for all of my finished objects, whips and acquisitions. I am very obviously getting ready for spring knitting. I think every single bit of yarn or whip that I have here has some cotton content in it. Either 100% cotton or like around 50%. So it's very obvious that I'm getting into spring knitting, and it's because of the weather. We finally got some good weather here in Belgium. I went out for a run this morning. It was sunny. I had some summer music on, like some Zara Larsson, and I was just completely feeling it. And I am so ready for summer and spring. And I do not want to see any bit of rain anymore. We have blue skies today. We are gonna get 15 degrees Celsius. Amazing. So yeah, we are getting into spring and summer knitting. I do think I'm gonna miss winter fibers because I do prefer knitting with wool, but these are gonna be more wearable in the few upcoming months because the wool projects that I do have in mind that I want to knit after these are like really, really warm. So I wouldn't be able to wear them until like the end of fall, and I think that's just a waste because I want to be able to wear the things that I make. So yeah, we're gonna have to push through with the cotton, but we'll be fine. Anyways, that's it for this podcast. I will be back once I have enough to update on. We will see when that is. I hope you all have lots of upcoming knitting projects as well. I hope you're enjoying the projects that you're working on right now. And then I would like to ask you to maybe consider liking and subscribing. That would really help me. And then I will end with happy knitting. Thank you for watching, and bye.